Hey, what's up, guys? Derek's Pixeltorium coming at you. So, based on ETA Prime and Retro Game Core's videos on the new and improved Launchbox for Android, I figured I'd install it on my phone here. Got a Samsung Note 10 Plus, and I just reinstalled it here and I just set it up, and I wanted to show you guys what I got going on. So here we go. So, all right. So when you first install it, you get the Android selection or category out of the box. So, and that kind of searches through your phone and looks for what it thinks are Android games. And obviously I got a few in here, but it also is pulling in the other emulators, which I'll go over later. But I just want to give you a quick tour of what I got installed and what I have running through Launchbox. It's a lot of systems, guys. I'm very happy so far. So, of course, arcade classics, 2600, 7800, TurboGrafx or PC Engine, Nintendo 64, NES, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, GameCube. Yep, that's right, GameCube. Of course, you know, this is an Android phone, so some probably won't be surprised about that. Sega CD, Dreamcast. Here, I'll move it over so we can see a little better. There we go. Dreamcast, Game Gear, Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, Neo Geo, PlayStation 1, PSP, PSP Minis, and Super Nintendo. So, of course I went through, and after you add the ROMs for each system, you have to basically go in. When you try to start a game, it asks you to configure an emulator, and 90% of these systems I'm just running through the RetroArch Plus app. So, but I'm just going to run through each system here and show you what emulator I have configured in case it'll be helpful for you guys if you're setting up these similar systems. So I'll just start at this end. So Super Nintendo, and also with the Launchbox, they're also adding new themes, of course, all the time now. But yeah, so this one I like is just, you know, logo on the left, box art on the right. So if you click the three dots, you can see the emulator settings, and you can see I'm using RetroArch Plus and the SNES 9X 2005 Plus core in RetroArch. That loaded pretty good. And so let's see, PSP Minis. This is using the standalone PPSSPP, that's a mouthful, emulator that you can download from the App Store, Google Play Store rather. And then it's just set up through there. And same thing, and sometimes the logos don't come through for all of the games, but you can always just, they kind of load in the background when you first do them. And you can also, there's also an option to re-download missing media if you want to later. See if it might catch us that time. But regular PSP is also running on the standalone PPSSPP Android application. PS1. This is through RetroArch. Yep, RetroArch Plus. So it's a PCSX. It's a rearmed core. They also do have the DuckStation core in RetroArch Plus. I've tried them both out. They both run about the same. I do like the, I think both these cores do it. They automatically load up the PlayStation like boot logo screen, which is awesome. So that's PSX, PS1, Neo Geo. Yeah, see there's some logos missing here too, but Neo Geo is running off the neo.emu standalone emulator. They ran the best with that. For me anyway. Sega Genesis or Mega Drive. The standalone Mega Drive or md.emu emulator. Game Gear is the same, I believe. Oh, nope, I was wrong. RetroArch Plus and the Genesis Plus GX, and I chose the wide ones because so it would be wide on the screen, because I do have my aspect ratio for the full phone screen. I know it's not popular with most people, but that's the way I did it. So I chose the wide core there. And Dreamcast. This is also using RetroArch Plus and the Flycast core, which worked out pretty good for these. Sega CD is also using the Mega Driver MD.EMU standalone emulator. It covers, you know, Genesis, Sega CD, Game Gear, yeah, so all those, Master System, I believe, too. So you can set that up for all of those systems if you're running them. So that's also a standalone emulator. Now, GameCube, and yeah, these run really well. I'm very happy with GameCube here, but this is running through the standalone Dolphin emulator that you can download from the Play Store. So there's that. Game Boy Color is RetroArch Plus with the GameBat core for that one. Game Boy Advance is also RetroArch Plus with the GPSP core for Game Boy Advance. And all these RetroArch cores, guys, I based it off of Retro Game Core did a video. I believe it was like setting up RetroArch for your PS Vita, but he actually gave his recommended core list in there for each system. So I'm basically just went off that, and I'm very happy with the selection. So thanks a lot, man. Save me some configuring and trial and error works. I appreciate it. Oops. So go back here. Game Boy, also RetroArch Plus, also the GameBat core there. NES, this is standalone, I believe. Yep, standalone NES.EMU emulator. Nintendo 64. Now, this is using RetroArch Plus and the Mupen 64 Plus next to GLE S3 core in RetroArch. For this one, I chose this because, well, two reasons. One, it was the best core in RetroArch that seemed to run the games, but I will tell you, using this, there is some sound stuttering. It's not always obviously pristine or anything. But I chose RetroArch because one thing you'll see if you go into emulator settings, and if you choose default emulator, it basically gives you a list of all the ones that Launchbox thinks will run these ROMs. And there are standalone emulators in here for Nintendo 64, but this is the one I actually have, the Mupen 64 Plus FZ, and I actually have the Pro version as well. But when you select those, it actually gives you a warning that says, you know, basically what happens is you can use the core, but when you try to open a specific game, it just opens the standalone emulator to like the main list of games. It doesn't actually open the game itself. So you would have to kind of search for the game in the standalone emulator after you click on it through RetroArch, or through a Launchbox anyway. So I just set it up through RetroArch for now through, yeah, see, there's the warning. Let's pull it up quick. So yeah, it just runs it. So basically I just have the, I just set it to RetroArch Plus through Launchbox, and I'll show you another way that I run 64 through Launchbox too. So okay, so that's Nintendo 64. TurboGrafx or PC Engine. So this one is standalone PCE.EMU as well. So that's not the RetroArch. I might have actually more standalone RetroArch than I thought, but anyway. So Atari 7800. This one is running through RetroArch Plus with the Pro System core. and Atari 2600. This one is actually running standalone 2600.emu standalone emulator. I don't think the RetroArch cores for 2600 in RetroArch Plus matched the ones in Launchbox that you could actually choose from, so that's why I went with the 2600 standalone emulator for that one. And almost at the end here, guys. So yeah, Atari. So for these, also using RetroArch Plus, I'm using the FB Neo or Final Burn Neo core in RetroArch. I do have the a couple main ones installed also in RetroArch based on the list here, but I found that the Final Burn Neo one through RetroArch is the best one that loads the games through Launchbox on this phone for me, so that's the one I chose. And now the Android section, like I said, it pulls up what it thinks are games, but also, of course, it did list a lot of the standalone emulator apps in here, so I deleted some of them from the list. I can show you how to do that too. But basically, so I mentioned Nintendo 64, so even if you launch RetroArch, or I'm sorry, even when you launch Launchbox in this Android section, what I've been doing is just pull up the Android games section, go into, and then just load the emulator directly from Launchbox, and then you just come to the list and you just pick the game you want and run it directly from the standalone emulator. So let's close this down. So yeah, but I do have some Android games, so this should pick out some of your Android games. If there's anything in here that, obviously there's no like logo art, but you can see the app icon for each. If there's something that you don't want to show up in the list, and this would be for any of the emulator system sections. If there's something you don't want in the list, you can just tap on it and then go down and highlight delete, and this will delete it from the list. And then the next screen, it'll ask if you want to delete the media for that in the Launchbox, like media files like the logo, the box art, the cover art, whatever it has for that particular game or file. So that is my collection. And I will say, like I said, here, I'll just pull up a Nintendo game. I do have a few. And let's do, surprise, surprise, it's gonna be a sports game, which is not, it's kind of rare for me, but I like this one on Nintendo. So, but like I said, it's taking up the full width of the phone, full height of the phone screen. So it's not like 4:3 aspect ratio, but basically all of the games I have configured the system so it's, like I said, full screen for the phone. It's got a scale 2x filter, and that's including the ones that use standalone emulators. The standalone emulator and RetroArch cores are all set up for scale 2x filters, full screen, and locked at 60 FPS if possible. And I will say, guys, aside from Nintendo 64 with the sound stuttering and sometimes choppy audio, all these systems run at 60, guys, and I'm just loving this Launchbox. And because of this, I actually just got me one of these to try out this on next, so stay tuned for that, guys. But yeah, so that's my Launchbox build, guys. If you liked the video, like and subscribe. There'll be more cool retro content coming. Again, this is Derek's Pixeltorium, and thanks for watching, guys.